Priority focus is often misunderstood as working harder on what matters most, pushing more effort into important tasks and trying to stay disciplined throughout the day. But that is not what creates consistent focus, because the problem is not usually effort, it is direction. Most people are not struggling because they are lazy. They are struggling because their attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Everything feels urgent. Everything competes for focus. And without a clear priority, your attention fragments. You start one thing, switch to another, return halfway, then switch again. Nothing fully completes, and that creates pressure. Not just from workload, but from the lack of progress. Because unfinished tasks stay active in your mind. They sit in the background, pulling your attention even when you are trying to focus elsewhere. That is where stress starts to build. Not from doing too much, but from holding too much open at the same time. Priority focus solves this by forcing a decision about what actually matters right now. It narrows your attention to a single direction, and that changes how your mind operates. Instead of scanning across multiple tasks, your focus locks onto one. That reduces cognitive load because your brain is no longer trying to track everything at once. It knows where to direct energy. But this only works if the priority is clear, not vague and not flexible in the moment, defined before you start. That is why priority focus begins before the work itself. You decide what matters most ahead of time, not when distractions appear or pressure builds. This removes the need to constantly reevaluate during the day, and that is what protects your attention. Because every time you stop to decide what to do next, you create an opportunity for distraction. Priority focus removes that gap. So when you sit down to work, the decision is already made. But another mistake people make is trying to prioritize too much. Multiple important tasks, multiple directions. That is not priority. That is dilution. Real priority means constraint. It means accepting that something else is not getting your attention right now. And that is where control becomes uncomfortable, because you are choosing to ignore other demands. But without that constraint, focus never stabilizes. Another layer is protecting that priority once it is set. Because focus is not just about choosing what to do, it is about defending it. Reducing inputs, limiting distractions, and shaping your environment so your attention is not constantly interrupted. This is where most systems fail. The priority is clear, but the environment does not support it. So attention breaks, and once it breaks, it is harder to rebuild. Priority focus works when both sides are in place. Clear direction and protected attention. When those align, something changes. Work becomes more stable, progress becomes visible, and that reduces stress. Not because there is less to do, but because your energy is no longer scattered. This is what most people miss. Stress is not just about workload. It is about how that workload is structured in your mind. Priority focus simplifies that structure. One direction, one task, one point of attention. And from that, everything becomes easier to manage.